In Japan, many series start out as web novels written on blogs before being picked up by a publisher and turned into the kind of novel most of us are familiar with. This stems from the early 2000s and the rise of cell phone novels in Japanese culture. These novels usually consisting of between 70 and 100 characters due to the tech limits of the time, with the first widely recognized one being published in 2003, Deep Love. And as the internet and technology advanced, that style of novel only evolved as the character limit expanded and people could publish their stories to web pages, with all the space and freedom to write whatever story they want. And for Reki Kawahara, he would start publishing a web novel called Sword Art Online. I found conflicting info on when he actually started writing his novel, but in 2007 he compiled it and self-published it in books as Sword Art Online Material Edition. In 2009, his series Sword Art Online was officially published, and that series would grow to what it is today, with multiple seasons of manga and anime stemming from it. But 2 months earlier, Reki's novel that won the 2008 Dengeki Novel Grand Prize would begin publishing. The one that I think is the superior story to Sword Art Online. This is Accel World. The story opens with a class on the Renaissance period and the innovations that pushed humanity forward. In a very dystopian way, it's accented by both the teacher and the students interacting with personal augmented reality screens that only they can see. This is a paradise for transhumanists, but a nightmare for everyone else. They all wear these collars called Neurolinks. That's right. A full 12 years before Elon was putting computer chips in brains, which, by the way, this anime also has something along those lines, and it was deemed highly unethical and a major risk due to brain hacking. Accel World was musing with the idea of tech that allows the user to access both virtual and augmented realities. The protagonist, Haruyuki Arita, is a short, fat coward being bullied by his classmates. Through his Neuralink, he dives into a digital world of pure fantasy in the avatar of a literal pig. And in this digital world, Haru actually has some skill, with his game being interrupted by the cat girl Chiyuri Kurashima. She seems to actually care about him, being childhood friends, and suggests going to her boyfriend Takumu Mayusumi for help with the bullying. But Haru is a defeatist, so that's not happening. The setup is a real zero-to-hero story. Once again into the digital fantasy, he finds his game score was beaten, then offered an invitation by someone named Kuroyuki. As it turns out, she's an upperclassman of his, and with a wired link, she sends him an app that would change his life. He's welcomed into the accelerated world, and then his bullies show up, and he's taught how to use this new app along with a bit of an explanation of what's happening and how it works. This senpai seems to enjoy toying with Haru. She also issues him a warning not to connect to the internet, even for a second. Due to his own carelessness, the following morning he's forcefully burst and a kind of fighting game health bar shows up with the name Silver Crow. That is who Haru is in the accelerated world. He's suddenly in a fight with a guy called Ash Roller.
You, on the other hand, are giga unlucky!
And now the real meat of the series begins. Brain Burst is an MMO fighting game. Kuroyuki is called Black Lotus in this game, and she walks him through more aspects of it and its purpose. Or at least the purpose that the players know of. There's a point system, and those points are also resources for actually using accelerated time features of the program. These PvP fights are for those points, and if your points drop to 0, the app uninstalls, wipes your memory of the game, and it cannot be reinstalled. Now with more knowledge on his hands, it's time for a rematch with Ash Roller, accompanied by more world building on how colors correlate to strengths and weaknesses. Haru pulls off a come-from-behind victory, but he's out of the street fight and into the cat fight as Chiyuri confronts Kuroyuki about her sudden association with Haru. She continues to mess with Haru, or maybe she's not, because she's keeping up this I asked him out angle. There's more world building, and Kuroyuki reveals that she's not only one of the few level 9 players, but also the villain of the story. She also tells Haru about being hunted, even at school. The story takes this turn into dox or B-dox territory, which now sounds really bad, but for when the series came out, doxing wasn't even a thing. Or if it wasn't so widespread that the word would become part of the common vernacular. Because in Accel World, the only thing more dangerous than knowing an opponent's moveset is knowing their real-world identity. But that's the reason Kuroyuki is recruiting Haru. She wants him to help her fight her hunters and reach level 10. Because at level 10, something amazing is supposed to happen. And the first one Kuroyuki suspects to be gunning for is Chiyuri. After some sleuthing and some middle school romance drama between Haru and Kuroyuki, Haru's bully shows up again in a goddamn car. She takes the hit meant for him and ends up in critical condition in the hospital, but she's still connected to the net, which makes her vulnerable to her hunters. Now Haru is set on protecting her. The next morning, Takumu arrives alone, and Haru picks up on the danger immediately. The challenge is issued, and Takumu is the one who's been hunting Kuroyuki. Takumu, having an inferiority complex over Haru and Chiyuri's childhood relationship, decides to be an idiot and takes his issues out on Haru. And like a proper shonen battle series, Haru finds his second wind in a pair of shiny wings. He even manages to convert Takumu over to Kuroyuki's side. Then, Black Lotus reveals herself with a declaration of war, taking the first 5 episodes of Accel World to bring it into full form, and it's both beautifully animated and written. The novel has been running since 2009 and presently has 28 volumes. The manga, serialized by Dengeki Bunko magazine, only has 8 volumes with 45 chapters in total. And the anime by Sunrise running 1 season of 24 episodes, with a 2-episode OVA to follow in 2013 and a movie in 2016. Though the first 40 minutes of the movie are a hyper-condensed recap of the anime. So any new story is only about 80 minutes in total. Accel World bleeds with the kind of style and attitude Sword Art Online could never handle, with the dichotomy of a slightly futuristic world juxtaposed against an almost Stygian Hans Geiger sci-fi apocalypse. The accelerated world having environments ranging from ruined cities to poison swamps and futuristic megastructures. It really sells that MMO PvP feel of the game. The dialogue is really hit and miss. It's one of the weakest aspects of the series, but in a way it's excusable and makes sense, as the oldest players of the game are only 15. Kids aren't going to be eloquent or all that stable in their conversations and emotions. But in a way it's that same lack of quality that lends itself to the feel of authenticity for the characters. Especially when they exhibit those moments of character growth, but it doesn't really get any better because, again, they're middle schoolers. It's still jank dialogue, but it has greater meaning in those moments. The world building, though, that's usually just an info dump. A lot more tell rather than show, at least for the initial 5 episodes that set up the series. There are also times when the exposition, particularly by Kuroyuki, is overly dramatic and heavy. It doesn't really suit her age. If the characters were older, as in late high school or college, then some of the things they say would make more sense. But that doesn't take away from how well designed the setting and world building is. The integration of augmented reality in the virtual world with the real world isn't something very common in anime or manga. And that setting makes the battles visually stunning when they want to be, with character designs ranging from mecha musume to generic and absurd, like this guy. You could say it's the dichotomy of importance, because all of the important characters have well thought out and designed avatars, while the chaff tend to be generic and forgettable. Take Aquacurrent as an example. Initially she seems like a plot device, but with just about everyone else in-game having mech-style avatars, hers is entirely water in design. And about those characters, Haruyuki is every bit the zero to hero story. He's usually self-deprecating and pessimistic, which causes problems for all of his personal relationships. Kuroyuki has her own issues, which she openly talks about during the course of the series. It's uncharacteristically mature for someone who's supposed to be between 13 and 15, though there is an ad hoc explanation that because of the time spent in the burst world, the soul ages faster than the body. So I guess there is a reason for her unnatural maturity. Takumu starts off with an inferiority complex, then moves on to sacrificial repentance before having actual character development. And Chiuri doesn't get a lot of meaningful character development, even after she's given Brain Burst in episode 13. But the cast is complemented by a robust revolving door of supporting characters, including the aggro lolly Scarlet Rain and her loony second-in-command Blood Leopard, Kuruyuki's second and best friend Skyraker, and many antagonists.
Mega fuck yeah, baby!
But if Accel World is better written than Sword Art Online, why isn't it more successful? Well, the reasons are simple: timing and complexity. The concept of augmented reality games didn't really catch on until VR tech and geolocation advanced to the point that made them widely accessible. Pokemon Go being a prime example of that, and it happened 4 years after Accel World first aired. The concept was simply too ahead of its time. The other reason being the complexity of the world, when compounded by the AR setting, was much more sci-fi than its counterpart Sword Art Online. Plus the Saw movies were at the height of their popularity, with Saw 3D in 2010. And just to make some people feel really old, the first Saw movie came out over 20 years ago. You're welcome. With the burgeoning rise of the Oculus and the setting of if you in the game you in real life, it made a well-timed storm for SAO to capitalize off the market. It's not like the stuck in a game trope wasn't done better, Log Horizons got that one, nor was SAO the first to try it. Dot Hack Sign from 2002 was already well known in the anime industry. SAO just had better written dialogue and had the right timing to take off the way it did. In just about every other way, Accel World is superior. From the setting to the character designs to the plot mechanics. SAO just has more natural, believable dialogue and had perfect timing. And those really are the flaws of Accel World, the awkward dialogue and the fact that all the characters are middle schoolers. Also, Haru's self-deprecating personality can get annoying. But if you've ever been a bullied fat kid, you know what it's like to be a bullied fat kid. And that's Accel World. I am the NBT. This has been the Noble Weeaboo. Like or don't, sub or don't. Accel World is really good. Even with its flaws, it's got a solid concept and really missed out on getting the audience attention it should have. It's worth giving a try. And thank you for watching.